Casts more light on the case of U.S. diplomats who believe they had suffered physical damage from microwave weapons used by enemy agents. A panel of U.S. scientists found that the symptoms were likely caused by directed microwave devices, renewing discussions about the use of microwave radiation in 5G wireless networks. As with the difference between microwave ovens and microwave weapons, the discussions revolve around exactly how short the wavelengths in 5G microwaves are and how directed they are. A new report by a U.S. National Academy of Sciences committee has found that directed microwave radiation is the likely cause of illnesses among American diplomats in Cuba and China. Microwave weapons work in much the same way as an ordinary microwave oven. A strong electrical current is fed into a magnetron. A magnetron is a high-powered vacuum tube that oscillates microwaves to produce high-energy microwave radiation. However, in a microwave oven, this energy bounces around within the walls of the oven. Instead of containing the energy inside a box, a microwave weapon concentrates the energy into a focused direction with minimal broadening of the energy stream. This is why it's also called a directed energy weapon. AP reports the committee's finding provides the most definitive explanation yet of the illness that struck scores of government employees, first at the U.S. Embassy in Havana in 2016, and then in China and other countries. Many of the officers suffered from dizziness, fatigue, headaches, and loss of hearing, memory imbalance, and some were forced into permanent retirement.
We live in an era driven by technological development where we are surrounded by electronics. To protect our screen-weary eyes, contact lenses that block radiation and prevent dry eye syndrome has been created. Our Park Se-young introduces to us the invention by a team of Korean researchers.
People these days spend much of their time staring into the screens of their smartphones and computers and are continuously exposed to electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic waves are a potential cause of eye conditions like cataracts. Now, Korean researchers have developed contact lenses that block radiation while preventing the eyes from drying out. The lenses are coated with graphene, which protects the eyes by absorbing and converting the radiation into heat. At the same time, it prevents the evaporation of tears from drying out the eyes. In an experiment using egg whites and microwave radiation, the egg under an ordinary contact lens got cooked, while the graphene-coated lens left it uncooked and safe from radiation.
The lenses release very little thermal energy, similar to room temperature, and are unlikely to have an impact on the eyes in a regular environment.
The researchers are now working with a contact lens company and planning clinical tests with volunteers. They believe the graphene-coated lenses will be commercially available within 1 or 2 years. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
If it's psychiatric illness, you would have an infrared device that followed the person and you would link it to a pencil-thin microwave source, so the microwave beam would always target a specific gland or a specific part of the brain or an eye or a heart. So you would have them being targeted.
So if you're a target, there's virtually nothing you can do. And if they fail in their electronic means, they can always send the FBI at you to do a sneak and peek and take your photograph or do whatever they want. As they have done with us, by the way.
So you guys are actually, in a sense, the canaries in the coal mine, right? Because the incentives are all lined up against you. Anybody see on the subway, link your MetroCard to your debit card, right? And like auto refill? This is the concept which is key to everything we'll talk about today, and it's called linkability. Take one piece of data and link it to another piece of data. So for example, if you have your MetroCard and you have your debit card, you have those things and you can draw a line between them, right? So that's like not a scary thing, except your bank card is tied to everything else that you do during the day. So now they know where you're going when you make purchases. So when they decide to target you, they can actually recreate your exact steps with a MetroCard and with the credit card alone. Like literally where you go and what you buy, and potentially by linking that data with other people on similar travel plans, they can figure out who you talked to and who you met with. When you then take cell phone data, which logs your location, and you link up purchasing data, MetroCard data, and your debit card, you start to get what you could call metadata in aggregate over a person's life. And metadata in aggregate is content. it tells a story about you, which is made up of facts, but is not necessarily true. So for example, just because you were on the corner and all those data points point to it, it doesn't mean you committed the crime. So it's important to note that if someone has a perception of you having done a thing, it will now follow you for the rest of your life. So just keep in mind that what happens to you guys, for example, with fingerprints and retinal scans and photographs, that is what is going to happen to people in the future when they resist policy changes and when they try to protest in a totally constitutionally protected way.
Intelligence communities or agencies of the world are gaining too much influence over government, how governments operate. And this is moving really to a Stasi state, basically. And it's not just the United States, it's countries all around the world. You have to be aware that these agencies are threatening what is fundamental to human rights everywhere. And you've got to ensure that you have some way of verifying and keeping these agencies in line. And whatever it takes in law and whatever it takes technically to make that happen, these governments around the world, all of them need to do. I mean, in fact, I don't think there's anything you could do to stop. If they're after you, they're going to get you one way or the other.
And then, of course, you also have the things that are a little bit more traditional. If we talk about things that can be operable in the biochemical space, we ordinarily talk about drugs, bugs, toxins, and ever more, we're considering devices.